You're listening to Dirty Feet, a dance podcast. I'm Allison Burns. Here we are with another episode of Dirty Feet, and I'm going to be speaking today to a very accomplished choreographer and artist in general with a multifaceted toolbox of different tricks up his sleeve. I'm going to be talking to Serge Bennathan, who is the artistic director of Les Productions Figlio. And the reason that I have this opportunity to talk to Serge is because he is currently in Ottawa. He's about to present work at the Ottawa Dance Directive, a piece called Just Words that premiered over in Vancouver earlier this year. So we have quite a bit to talk about because Serge has quite a history. He founded this company back in 2006, and prior to that, he worked as the artistic director of Dancemakers in Toronto. But outside of that, you've been all over this beautiful country of ours, in Montreal and here in Ottawa and Toronto, in Vancouver, where the company is currently based and where you currently work from. So I would love to touch on all these facets of what you do. And let's start, of course, with Les Productions Figlio. Oui. And this beautiful thing that you brought to being over 10 years ago. And tell us why you started this company.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
I just stepped down from Dancemakers in 2006 after 16 years. So it was a long time past at choreographing and directing a company. And when I stepped down, I felt that I didn't want to create a dance company per se. What I really wanted was to more create a production house where for each performance, I will gather the people that would be the greatest for the performance. And it is because I alternate between dance creation, but also text-based creation. So, I just wanted the freedom, the lightness of the structure, yes.
It sounds like this company involves a lot of poetry and theater, and involves dance and visual arts, and just a lot of multi-disciplines inside of this company.
Yes, look, I do different things. I choreograph, but also I paint a bit, and I write, and also I worked a long time in opera, and so for example, I wrote the libretto of an opera that one day I hope to produce. So it was just I wanted the elasticity of the company to be able to say, oh, this year I just do a creation with text. Or this year it's just dance, or this, let's mix. And sometimes I felt like, for example, with Dancemakers, I felt that it will take a long time to convince people that we could have this elasticity when a structure is for so long in place. But maybe I could have succeeded. I don't know. But that's what I wanted: elastic structure for different creation that moves. Yes.
There's a note also about the work then appealing to audience members of all the different disciplines that are involved. So I can understand how there's like a crossover between perhaps a spoken word audience and a dance audience or a theater audience, but also involving the visual arts world. How do you create crossover for that sort of audience if they're so unused to that sort of presentation of work?
That's I don't think about it, to be honest. That's why I created this company. Time is passing by so fast that I think, am I creating really what I want to create? And sometimes I will say, I'm close, but no. And now that's what I want to do. I want to create what I want to create. And hopefully it will go in a direction that it will talk to different people. But I don't think about I think about the audience in the poetic of the piece. I don't think about the audience in the structure. I don't think about the audience and say, oh, I'm going to do this or that, or how can I speak. This, I let it, it will be later. But when I create, I try to bring a poetry that hopefully will talk to many different people.
Then when we're looking at your background, you've created work for SFU dancers in Vancouver, for Ladni dancers in Montreal, for Ballet BC, like you said, working with operas as well. So there is this theme of working with dance artists and working in a dance context. Mm-hmm. Is that because there is some openness there with that art form, with contemporary dance, that allows you to present in this context, this kind of multidisciplinary work?
I think I go further back than that. For me, dance in my life is I take this metaphor a lot of time, but if my life is a tree, dance is the trunk of this tree. And through dance, it is through dance that I started to paint, that I started to write, to work with opera. It's really dance that kind of branched me out on different creative paths. And so, for me, it's like all the branches of this life. It's a organic growth from dance, and so I'm not sure. I'm I can't say. I can't say it's always because the openness of dance. I never thought about this. It's just dance have been so incredibly generous to me by bringing me towards people that were from different creative paths. And so, and then it happened that suddenly dance is quite extraordinary because dance will fit naturally in this new world. And that was the beauty of it. And sometimes, I think it's interesting how I think now, and I would say I never had a career plan. It's always dance that kind of brought me towards opera directors, film directors, writers, and that I find extraordinary. And dance keeps surprising me. But it's a tool. It's like if dance, use me to do this, and you have nothing to do with dance. But for example, I like in opera. I directed 2 operas with the COC in Toronto. And what was really, really interesting, it was to try to bring the structure of a dance creation, but in opera. So it's a way to bring dance in opera with no dance. And so it was a way to bring the sense of space, the sense of relation, the physical relation, but with no necessarily movement or anything. It just the energy.
Is there a way that you can bring that also into the work you do as an illustrator?
Oh well, right now I couldn't explain this to you, but I'm sure it's there. I'm sure it's there. As an illustrator, what's important is, for me, when I started to draw and paint, it was when I was working on a piece, and it was to try to, through another layer, try to work through the piece, but more on the poetic side, not specially, not for a sense of space on the paper or whatever. It was to try to say what it is that I want to say, and I will make someone fly, and then I will think, well, there is this sense of being above that I want to bring, and then I will try to think how I can do it physically. But not necessarily to put someone up in the air, but like physically, what does that mean? Where is your mind when you are above something? So it was like the writing and the painting. It's just other layers. At the beginning, it was other layers to explore dance.
Other representations of what the essence of the
that
work
I was working on, I will working with an idea, and I would try to break some walls by writing a story or painting a story. We had nothing to do with the piece itself, but it was another way of going somewhere.
So let's put this onto just words.
Yes.
And start to let us in on what is happening in this work that you're presenting this September, October here in Ottawa.
Yes. With this work, like what I think I tried to do, like also like there's a lot of things that I tried to do on the moment that I just realized now what I was trying to do. It was a way to break the walls of the structure, how I create. And I think someone said, when we created in Vancouver, someone said to me that the piece as a form of explosion into it, that means that it goes different layers, it goes with text, it goes with dance, there is no walls, there is no structure. It's a form of, it's not chaos really, but it's a form, try to find the most freedom as possible to talk directly to people. I don't know if it makes sense just
well, of course, like you had to make a piece about it, so that to fully understand it, we should probably come see it.
The piece, like, is because the piece is there is no the essence of the piece really was to try to talk about different things, and it was try to talk about courage, beauty, poetry. Yeah, that was the three main thing, and it's all what I think about dance, about artists in dance. I have a great admiration for dance artists. I find that they are very, very courageous people, and I think they are warriors, but not necessarily the warriors like the fighting warriors. They are warriors to bring an idea to people and stand up for it, and that I find that beautiful. And through the piece, it's a bit what we try to do. Yeah,
lovely. And it's yourself performing along with Carissa Berry and Hilary Maxwell.
Yes.
And in terms of movement aesthetics that an audience is going to experience, can you put that into words?
Well, it's going to be I think that in general the piece is quite physical. But through this physicality, I think we go through different modes. Like there is very, sometimes it's very physical. Maybe I want to say a bit aggressive, but sometimes it's like we go through another mode where it's very tender, where it's very soft, but the pattern, that the link between all these different modes is the fact that they are present, like that they are there and they come back, and I think we have a powerful sense of that, of having these two dancers being in front of you and talking to you.
And this text that you've prepared for this work, are we experiencing poetry? Is there a linear story that you're telling us?
No, there is no linear path. It's a different poetry that talk about love, courage, migrants. Like. So that's why I'm saying it's like, in fact, the piece is like a diary. C'est comme un journal. It's like a journal where sometimes you put a thought of you, and it's a very important thought, and then next it's another thought. But all of it, all this thought that you put on the page, kind of represent where you are now, and that's what the piece is. And if we were doing, for example, the piece, let's say for the next 4 years, let's say, if we travels with it, I think the piece I will keep adding things or changing things or adding a new text and talk about something different, because the actuality and what's happening is constantly changing, and I think the piece reflects that.
Well, and you already have, because you're presenting it at Odd coming up very shortly, and you're also then going to Toronto to the Citadel right after. And of course, as we said before, you opened it in Vancouver back in April. So is there already evolution happening?
No, I don't know. Like it's very. I'm hoping that the piece will be picked up. But I don't think about it, to be honest. I let it's too complicated.
Too much paperwork. Yeah. Okay, that was just words. There's another one of your works that I was curious about talking with you about. Elles, which is a piece that you choreographed on several female dancers.
Oui.
Yes, and I love the description of it, of the welcoming. Again, you're almost relating them to warriors. They're these strong females. Can you talk a bit about that as a male choreographer taking on a group of female performers and creating work?
It's interesting because it's like, for example, it's like Just Word. Just Word, it's me, a man, with two female dancers. And sometimes, like there is people where it's a man with two men, or like this time it was a choreography for we were 9 female dancers. And the fact is beside L, let's say, but I never think about the gender of the dancer that I want. I find the people I like women that I can work with and bring a form of masculinity, and I like men where I can find a femininity through it. So it's the idea with Elle was to really have the experience to work with so many very, very different, 9 very different female dancers. And they were very, very beautiful. And try to see what I could do with it, but also what they will bring to me as a choreographer, like what it will mean to kind of like be challenged by this. And it's difficult. I don't know what to say about it. Like really, at the end of it, I like the journey that we had, and I like the presence of this woman, and I think it was a very, and also like the music was played live by Bertrand Chénier, and this relation of the performers with the composer live beside them on stage was quite beautiful. And yes.
And Bertrand is also creating the music for this work as well.
Yes. Well, he's a composer with I work since 10 years. I don't know. I'm thinking about Elle now. It's like it's few years that we created this work, but it's interesting to. Yeah.
So I won't dig too much further into the past, but I did want to mention
we can talk about it. It just it's interesting to go back to work and think, okay, what was it there? And I think that this time with Elle, it was this. I think I was starting because I think from Elle to all the work to Just Word now, like there is a link. Like it's an evolution, and I think I started this with Elle, and so that's why, like I would say, there is this sense of being a warrior, and that's what I think. I believe in dance. I feel that dancers are warriors, and I like this idea, and I like the physicality that it can bring to people. So
the empathetic reaction, do you mean like that the audience experiences something physical as well?
Yes, but also that almost I will say, and it might sound pretentious or something, but I almost like if the audience can discover something, maybe even learn something. Now I say like the audience can learn something, but learn something about courage. Like I like it's I think I suppose, and that's what come with just words. It's like, I suppose that where I am now with dance is I want to bring this notion of courage. I think people say sometimes that my choreography is very hard, and but I find to do it, you have to have a sense of courage. It's like when you do exercise in Kundalini yoga, you have to keep up and you will be kept up. It's like, be there, be present, and it's hard. And I find dancers are extraordinary. And I think dancers have something to say to the world where we are right now. We could ask, what does that mean, courage, for people right now, like in our society? What is it? A lot of people say, well, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, what is it? Like courage and poetry, to look at life, to be present, and at the same time have the distance of softness and gentleness. It does not mean just like, be soft. No, just open.
Absolutely.
So that's where I am, and I think
a
all
vulnerability.
this, and that all started with Elle. In fact, Elle was a point of departure in this journey of working on the notion of courage and poetry.
The little jaunt I'm going to do now. I'm endlessly curious about geography as it pertains to kind of the dance community and industry in this country and abroad. So, after spending a large portion of your career in Toronto and being nominated for 12 Dora Awards and for running Dancemakers, now you're in Vancouver, and you have been since you started this company. Mm-hmm. What made the change, and how has it affected you as an artist?
I knew Vancouver from before, so like I had some collaborators over there already. I don't know. I suppose like I said, I directed Dancemaker for 16 years. It's a big chunk of time, and during these 16 years, you choreograph, and it was fantastic. And I had beautiful dancers that I loved, and that gave me so many things. But then when I decided to step down, it's like you need to turn a page. Like you can't just step down and stay there and choreograph a bit, or you have to turn the page. And I have to say, I was able to turn the page because I had a desire to create differently. And so Vancouver was for me a very natural environment to be. And at the same time, I find that there is very great things happening in dance in Vancouver right now. Just yesterday in Paris, Crystal Pite opened her new piece, and it was a great success. It's fantastic. Like, if you think about it, and there is a 605, and there is Joe Locklin, and there is like many one way, and the list is great. And so I think it's a very interesting time for Vancouver. Donc it's great. Yes. I feel free. I travel a lot also because I choreograph for different companies also, and I work in opera also. So it's I'm not. It is true that I'm not 12 months a year in Vancouver, but I like the fact that there's people who support my work, and yes, it's. The change is good. Yes.
Great. Now, at this point, I know better than to ask you about the future.
Yes.
But as a wrap up, is there anything more that you want to say about dance, about your work that's coming up?
No, to be honest, I'm just very excited about this work, Just Words, and to bring it to Ottawa. Next week, we will be in Toronto. for example, in Toronto, it's a long time I didn't bring my work in Toronto. So it's kind of like reconnecting. I mean, I'm there and right now I'm creating a duet for two dancers in Toronto. So I'm in Toronto quite often, but to bring a piece of mine that on top of this, I'm in it, like, it's nerve-wracking. It's like coming back and you think, okay, I hope people accept the changes that you brought to your creative path. And but I'm very excited. Yes, I think. So no, the future. It's I have one or two works that I want to create next year. I don't know. In February, I will be in Chicago to work in an opera and. Yes, and I hope Just Word will travel the world. So, yeah, that's
brilliant. Yes, no doubt you'll be busy. There's already 7 full-length works behind Les Productions Figlio. So I'm sure there's more on the way.
Yes, no, it's great.
Wonderful. So one more time, what we're talking about is Just Words, which is going to be presented at the Ottawa Dance Directive here in Ottawa, September 29th to October 1st, 2016, and then at the Citadel in Toronto from October 6th to 8th. And hopefully all around the world after that.
Yes.
And it's been my absolute pleasure to talk with you, Serge. Merci.
Merci.
You've been listening to Dirty Feet. I'm Alison Burns with a few thank yous. First to Paula Flalo in the No More Radio Network, also to Mainline Theatre and Montreal Improv Theatre, and to all present and past team members who can be found on our website, dirtyfeetpodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook at Dirty Feet Podcast and follow us on Twitter at Dirty Feet.